You can feel it before you see it. Something in him starts to change, quietly, subtly, but undeniably. He still says the right things. He still comes home. He still touches you, maybe even kisses you. But somehow it doesn't feel the same. The warmth in his eyes is gone. The way he looks at you feels distant, like he's there, but his mind is somewhere else. Most women think that cheating starts with a decision, a sudden act of betrayal, but it doesn't. Before a man cheats, his mind cheats first. His emotions disconnect before his body ever does. And that's why the smartest women, the ones who truly understand male psychology, learn to read the early silent signs. Because a man never betrays out of nowhere. He shows it in small, almost invisible ways, long before it happens. The truth is, every man who's ever cheated has given clear signals. Only most women didn't know how to interpret them. They thought he was just stressed, or just distant, or just tired. But underneath that calm surface, his emotional world was already shifting, preparing to justify something that he knew was wrong, but felt right in the moment. If you've ever felt a gut feeling that something was off, but couldn't prove it, this video will finally explain why. Because today, I'll reveal the 3 silent signs that every man shows before cheating. Not dramatic ones like secret messages or lipstick on his shirt, but psychological ones, the kind that start deep inside him, in the quiet places where temptation grows. Let me make something very clear before we begin. This video isn't about making you paranoid. It's about making you aware. Awareness gives you power, the power to see through the mask, the excuses, and the "I would never do that" speeches. Because when you understand these 3 silent signs, you can recognize them before it's too late. And more importantly, you'll know when it's time to stop chasing explanations and start protecting your peace. A man doesn't just wake up one morning and decide to betray you. Cheating begins long before he crosses any physical line. It starts in how he starts to look at you differently, or stops looking at you altogether. It's in the way he rewrites small stories about you in his mind, convincing himself that you've changed, that you don't care, or that he deserves something more. That's where it begins. Not with another woman, but with a shift in how he perceives you. If you're here, chances are you've seen one of these shifts, or you've felt it in your gut. Maybe he's not as affectionate as before. Maybe he avoids eye contact when you ask where he's been. Or maybe he's still loving, still kind, but you sense a disconnection that no words can explain. Whatever the case, don't ignore it, because silence is not peace. Sometimes it's a sign of distance. And distance, when left unchecked, becomes emotional detachment. And emotional detachment is the first step toward betrayal. So in this video, we're going to uncover the psychology behind what really happens inside a man before he cheats. The emotional buildup that most women never see. You'll understand why men who truly loved you once can still end up betraying you. And by the end, you'll be able to recognize those hidden red flags for what they really are. Not random mood swings, but warnings. Before we dive in, I want you to remember something important. A man's betrayal is never your fault, but your awareness can save you from getting caught in the same emotional trap twice. Because when you can identify these 3 silent signs early enough, you gain clarity, and clarity is what sets you free. Let's begin. I still remember the first time a woman told me she felt her man drifting away but couldn't explain why. They had been together for 6 years. To everyone around them, they looked perfect. Loyal, stable, happy. But deep down, she knew something had shifted. She told me, "He still does everything he used to do. He hugs me, he texts me, he says he loves me, but it feels mechanical." And that's exactly how emotional distance starts. Quiet, polite, and confusing. It's rarely dramatic at first. He doesn't start an argument or suddenly act cruel. He just becomes emotionally unavailable. He's there, but not there. His words still sound the same, but his tone changes. He still listens, but he no longer hears you. It's like something in him switched off, and you can feel it even when he denies it. She tried everything to reconnect, planned surprises, cooked his favorite meals, tried to talk, but every conversation ended with him saying, "You're overthinking." And maybe she was overthinking, but only because he stopped thinking about them. 3 months later, she found messages. Nothing explicit, just innocent conversations with another woman that had slowly grown into something emotional, then physical. When she confronted him, he said something that almost every man who cheats says, "It just happened." but nothing just happens. There are always signs, quiet, consistent signs that reveal a man's internal conflict long before he crosses the line. And that's the tragedy of most relationships. The signs are visible, but ignored. Ignored because love makes you patient. Ignored because you hope it's just a phase. Ignored because the thought of losing him feels worse than pretending nothing's wrong. That's why stories like hers repeat everywhere. Different faces, same pattern. A man who once couldn't spend a single day without hearing your voice slowly begins to find reasons to be busy. He stays longer at work. He texts less. He seems distracted when you speak. And when you bring it up, he says, "Why are you acting insecure?" He turns the question around, not to hurt you, but to avoid admitting to himself what's really going on. You see, men rarely cheat spontaneously. They prepare for it emotionally. They start creating distance in their minds so that when it finally happens, they can tell themselves, "Our relationship was already broken." They rewrite the story of your love to justify their weakness. And that rewriting, that subtle change in narrative, is one of the earliest silent signs that betrayal is on the way. Another woman once described it perfectly. "He started treating me like a roommate who annoyed him instead of a partner he adored." At first, she blamed herself. She thought maybe she had become boring. Maybe she stopped being attractive. But what really happened was that he had already started to mentally exit the relationship, long before he physically did. That's why, when a man cheats, it never begins with another woman. It begins with a disconnect from himself. He stops being emotionally honest, first with you, then with himself. He suppresses guilt, replaces it with irritation, and calls it needing space. And that space becomes the bridge that leads him to someone else. If you've ever been in this situation, you know that your instincts always speak first. You feel the energy shift, you feel the effort fade, you feel the love cool down, but you keep hoping it will return. And when it doesn't, you start blaming yourself, thinking maybe you changed, maybe you asked for too much. But the truth is, most women don't lose a man overnight. They lose him slowly, through 1,000 small silences, excuses, and avoided conversations, through emotional withdrawal disguised as stress, through distracted eyes that used to light up when you walked into the room. And by the time you realize what's happening, he's already halfway gone, not because he stopped loving you suddenly, but because he stopped being present gradually. That's the dangerous part. Because when a man is emotionally disconnected but still physically there, it confuses you. It makes you think things are fine. He's still home. He's still affectionate sometimes. He still laughs. But in his mind, the foundation is already cracking. And here's what's even more painful. When you finally confront him, he might not even know how to explain it. He'll say he doesn't know what's wrong. He'll say he's just tired, just needs time. But behind those excuses, something deeper is happening. Something that connects directly to the 3 silent signs I'm about to reveal. Because before a man cheats, he goes through a quiet emotional transformation that changes how he feels about you, about himself, and about the relationship. And once that shift begins, it's only a matter of time before his actions follow his emotions. Let's break down what really happens inside a man before he cheats. Not the surface excuses he gives, but the deep emotional mechanics behind it. Because every betrayal begins with one of 3 silent signs. These signs don't scream, they whisper. But if you know how to listen, you'll recognize them long before it's too late. The first silent sign is emotional detachment disguised as calmness. This is one of the most confusing stages because it doesn't look like a problem at first. In fact, he might even seem more relaxed than before. Less reactive, less jealous, less argumentative. But that's not peace. That's disconnection. When a man starts to emotionally check out, he stops engaging with you in the same passionate way. He's not as curious about your day. He listens but without presence. He agrees just to avoid tension. And when you try to talk about the relationship, he looks distant, detached, maybe even bored. Women often misread this stage. They think, finally he's calmer, we're not fighting anymore. But what's really happening is that he's no longer emotionally invested enough to fight. He's withdrawing silently, conserving emotional energy, preparing to justify whatever comes next. Here's the psychology behind it. Men struggle to handle emotional contradictions. When he feels guilty but also dissatisfied, his mind finds a way to reduce the tension, and that usually means numbing his emotions. It's a subconscious defense mechanism. He disconnects to avoid facing the guilt of his changing feelings. But that emotional distance doesn't stay neutral. It creates a void. and every void eventually seeks to be filled. The second silent sign is defensiveness when there's no reason for it. This one is easy to miss but extremely revealing. He starts reacting strongly to small questions, questions that never bothered him before. You might ask something simple like, "Where were you?" or "Who were you texting?" And suddenly he gets irritated or accuses you of not trusting him. That's projection. When a man starts to feel tempted or guilty about something, even if he hasn't acted on it yet, he becomes hypersensitive to anything that reminds him of it. So instead of answering normally, he flips the narrative. "You're being paranoid. You never trust me. You're overreacting." He turns your intuition into the problem because deep down, he already feels like he's becoming one. Psychologically, it's a form of emotional self-protection. By making you look like the suspicious one, he can avoid facing his own inner conflict. It's not about you questioning him, it's about him questioning himself. And the more his guilt grows, the more defensive he becomes. This defensiveness doesn't always come with anger. Sometimes it comes with withdrawal, fewer details, vague answers, a new privacy around his phone. He'll justify it as needing space or not wanting drama. But when a man hides ordinary parts of his life from the woman he loves, it's never about privacy. It's about emotional secrecy, the subtle separation between the life he shares with you and the one he's starting to build elsewhere, even if only in his imagination. The third silent sign is emotional validation from outside the relationship. This is where most women misunderstand men the most. Cheating, for most men, isn't about physical desire. It's about emotional affirmation. It's about wanting to feel seen again, admired again, desired again. When a man begins to seek validation outside, it doesn't always start with another woman. It might begin with attention from coworkers, messages from old friends, or simply spending more time with people who make him feel alive. He starts to crave admiration, the kind he used to get from you, but no longer knows how to receive because he's emotionally detached. You might notice he puts more effort into how he looks, starts working out, or changes how he dresses. Those changes aren't just about self-improvement. They're often silent signals that he's re-entering the emotional marketplace, whether he admits it or not. And here's the key insight. Men don't cheat because they stop loving you. They cheat because they stop feeling loved. Or more accurately, they stop allowing themselves to feel it. That's why you can be doing everything right and still lose him, because it's not about your actions. It's about his perception. Once he rewires that story in his mind, he begins to seek new validation to replace the old one. And when another person gives him that sense of admiration, it becomes intoxicating. It makes him feel like himself again. That's why emotional affairs often start with harmless conversations that just feel easy. But behind that ease is a dangerous truth. He's escaping the emotional accountability that real intimacy demands. Now, all three of these signs, detachment, defensiveness, and external validation, form a cycle. Detachment creates emptiness, defensiveness protects his guilt, and external validation fills the void. Once that cycle begins, it feeds on itself. The more validation he gets from outside, the more detached he becomes from you. The more detached he becomes, the guiltier he feels. And the guilt pushes him to hide even more, deepening the emotional divide until betrayal becomes the natural outcome. But here's the part most people never talk about. Even after a man cheats, he rarely feels satisfied, because cheating doesn't solve his internal conflict. It only silences it for a while. The excitement, the secrecy, the illusion of control, all of it fades. And what's left is emptiness, regret, and a damaged sense of self-respect. That's why some men spiral after cheating. They lose the woman who truly loved them and realize too late that the problem was never her. It was their own inability to face emotional discomfort. So, when you start noticing these subtle changes, the calm distance, the defensive attitude, the sudden need for outside validation, don't dismiss them. They're not coincidences. They're signals, early warnings of a man who's losing alignment between his feelings and his values. But awareness isn't just about catching him. It's about protecting your emotional safety. Because if you can see these signs early, you can make choices from strength, not desperation. You can step back, evaluate, and decide whether he's worth the emotional investment before you end up broken by his confusion. And that brings us to something crucial. What happens when you ignore these signs? What happens when you stay, hoping he'll change, while he's already emotionally elsewhere? Because the real danger isn't just betrayal. It's what prolonged uncertainty does to your mind, your confidence, and your self-worth. The biggest mistake most women make isn't missing the signs. It's seeing them and convincing themselves that it's nothing. You tell yourself he's just tired, that the spark always fades, that every couple goes through ups and downs. But deep down, you know when something isn't right. And when you silence that inner voice long enough, you start to lose something much more important than him. You start to lose your intuition. When you ignore the early signs, your mind enters survival mode. You start to chase reassurance instead of clarity. You check his phone not because you want to invade his privacy, but because you're desperate to find proof that you're not crazy. You analyze every text, every pause, every tone of voice, hoping to decode the truth that your heart already knows. And this is where emotional self-destruction begins, when your peace depends on someone who's no longer emotionally available. The truth is, the moment you begin to question your worth just to keep him, you've already lost more than the relationship, because no woman should ever have to beg for honesty or fight for consistency. You can love him deeply and still walk away when love starts to feel like confusion. You can forgive his distance without accepting emotional neglect, and you can understand his pain without carrying it as your own. Every time you accept, "I'm just tired," instead of demanding transparency, you teach him that your silence is safer than your truth. And a man who learns that lesson once will use it again and again, not always to cheat, but to hide his guilt, his emptiness, his weakness, until you're not even in a relationship anymore. You're just maintaining a performance. You see, when betrayal happens, the pain isn't just about another woman. It's about the slow erosion of self-trust that led you there. It's about every time you doubted yourself and decided to stay quiet. Every time you felt the distance and hoped it was just temporary. Every time you knew something was wrong, but loved him too much to face it. That's what emotional blindness does. It protects your heart for a while, but it costs you your identity. Because the longer you stay in a relationship where you feel unseen, the more invisible you become to yourself. And the irony is, when you finally leave, you don't just have to heal from him, you have to heal from the version of you that kept waiting for him to come back. That's why awareness is everything. When you understand these 3 silent signs, when you can see the calm detachment, the defensiveness, and the search for validation for what they are, you don't panic, you act. You stop begging for connection from someone who's already disconnected. You stop trying to fix what he's quietly decided to break. You stop waiting for him to wake up and realize your value. Because here's a painful truth most women never want to hear. Once a man starts emotionally preparing to betray you, the only person who can save you is you. Not by chasing him, not by proving your worth, but by setting boundaries strong enough to protect your peace before he destroys it. Every minute you spend doubting yourself is a minute you could be using to rebuild your strength. And every tear you shed for someone who's emotionally gone is a reminder that you deserve more than being half loved, half attention, half effort, half honesty. The moment you feel that something is off, when his calm feels cold, when his explanations feel empty, don't minimize it. Don't explain it away. Ask questions, yes. Communicate, yes. But also watch patterns, not promises. Because a man's words may lie, but his energy never does. When you respond early, when you catch those 3 silent signs and choose to act, you interrupt the cycle before it becomes betrayal. You give yourself the chance to reclaim power before heartbreak forces you to. And you remind him, clearly and without drama, that love is not unconditional when respect is missing. This is where urgency matters. Because if you wait too long, if you keep hoping he'll go back to the way he was, you'll miss the moment when self-respect turns into self-sacrifice. And once that line is crossed, recovery takes years. Not because of what he did, but because of how long you ignored yourself to make it work. So if you're watching this and thinking, "This sounds like my relationship," don't panic. Don't play detective. Don't chase. Just start observing with open eyes. Take a mental step back. Notice patterns. Notice effort. Notice where energy flows. Because where it flows is where his heart already is. You deserve to feel safe, desired, and emotionally understood. Not anxious, unseen, or constantly guessing. And the moment you stop accepting emotional crumbs, you make space for something better. Whether that's healing on your own or rebuilding with someone who's truly capable of loving you. Because if a man truly values you, he'll fight his own temptations before ever making you question your worth. And if he doesn't, you'll know. Because now you understand the signs. Now that you know the 3 silent signs every man shows before cheating, I want you to remember something powerful. Knowledge means nothing without boundaries. Awareness gives you clarity, but boundaries give you peace. Because the goal isn't to catch him. The goal is to protect yourself before the damage happens. Most women think strength means enduring more. But true strength is the ability to say, I see what's happening, and I choose myself. It's not pride, it's self-respect. It's knowing that love without loyalty is just emotional labor, and you deserve more than that. If a man truly values you, he'll guard the connection he has with you like something sacred. He'll protect it from boredom, from temptation, from ego. Because when a man is emotionally mature, he knows that loyalty isn't about fear of losing you. It's about respect for what he has with you. But when he starts drifting, when those silent signs appear, that's your moment of truth. You can't control what he chooses, but you can control how much access you give to your heart. You can decide that you'll no longer tolerate halfway love, halfway honesty, halfway commitment. You can stop giving explanations to someone who already knows what he's doing and just doesn't want to admit it. Let me tell you something. The moment you stop trying to convince a man to see your worth, everything changes. Because you'll realize he was never blind. He just preferred to keep you in the dark. And when you finally bring light to the situation, it's not your job to guide him back. It's your job to walk forward. Sometimes the most painful closure you'll ever get is accepting that he knew exactly what he was risking, and he still did it. That's not your failure. That's his character revealing itself. And when someone shows you that kind of truth, believe it. Don't wait for another chance to be disappointed. Your intuition, that quiet voice that told you something was wrong from the start, is your best protection. It's not paranoia. It's pattern recognition. It's the wisdom your heart developed from every moment it's been broken before. So the next time your instincts whisper, something feels off, don't silence them. Listen. Trust them. They exist to keep you safe. If you're going through this right now, if you feel the emotional distance, the defensiveness, or the craving for validation that doesn't include you, take a deep breath. You don't need to react with anger or fear. Just step back. Watch his actions, not his apologies. Because a man who's loyal doesn't make you question his intentions. He makes you feel secure without you having to ask for it. And if you discover that he's already betrayed you, emotionally or physically, don't waste your pain trying to understand why. Men cheat for many reasons, but they all come down to one truth. They chose themselves over you. And once someone makes that choice, you don't heal by chasing answers. You heal by choosing yourself too. Every time you choose your peace over chaos, your dignity over confusion, your boundaries over begging, you win. Not because he lost you, but because you found yourself again. And that version of you, the woman who listens to her intuition, who understands emotional patterns, who doesn't settle for half love, she's unstoppable. Because when you heal from betrayal, you become immune to manipulation. When you learn to read the signs, you stop waiting for proof. And when you realize your value, you'll never again be scared of being alone, because solitude with peace is always better than company with doubt. So let this be your reminder. If a man's love requires you to ignore your instincts, it's not love, it's control. If his loyalty depends on your silence, it's not loyalty, it's convenience. And if being with him costs you your peace, the price is too high. You deserve a love that's calm, not confusing, consistent, not conditional. And if you haven't found that yet, it doesn't mean you're hard to love. It means you're done settling for people who don't know how to. So take this knowledge and carry it with you, not as fear, but as wisdom. Because once you understand the truth behind male behavior, once you see through the excuses, the patterns, and the silence, you can finally stop asking, why did he cheat? And start asking, why did I stay when my heart already knew? And that's where your healing begins, not when he apologizes, but when you realize you never needed his apology to move on. If this message spoke to you, make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Videos that help you understand the male mind, recognize emotional manipulation, and rebuild your confidence from the inside out. Because healing doesn't start with him coming back. It starts with you never lowering your standards again. You're not too emotional. You're not too demanding. You're not hard to love. You just need someone who's not afraid to meet the level of love you give. And the moment you believe that, truly believe it, you'll never fall for half-hearted love again.